Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to interview number 27 of My Dramatic Relationship with a Narc. The series is really taking off. I was just commenting with the guest how it interview up to interview number 27. I really had no idea that it would be going this hot and still have more interviews to do next week. So I'm going to introduce you to Monique in a minute. Monique is in her 30s. She says she's dated 3 narcs, but she's gained a lot of knowledge and experience. And so now she can spot them pretty much right away. And she's going to share her knowledge and insight into the narc mind with you, so you don't have to go through the troubles that she went through to get this knowledge. You can just get it straight from her. So let me get her in here. Hey, Monique, welcome to the show.
Hi, Deb. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy that you are just a brave soul and on here to share your knowledge with the other ladies. It's really, you guys are just so impressive. That's, I know this is hard. I know you guys are nervous, but every single one of you is just a trooper. So I can't do nothing but be so proud of you.
Oh, well, thank you. We get that from you.
Oh, well, that's good. I guess something's good. My brothers call me a big old knucklehead, so I guess something. Oh, girl, it's just kid stuff. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But at least something's good rubbing off on everybody. So let's
Yeah.
get started with your interview. So you heard how I introduced you.
Yes.
So you want to share stories about 3 narcs?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have 3 stories. I'm not going to bombard you with details about all of them, but I did find some commonalities, and I just wanted to share so that maybe it'll help someone.
Okay. Well, let's start. Is one of them worse than the other?
Yes, but I want to talk a little bit about my, I guess, like how you always do, like how did you grow up?
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to that, but I was trying to make sure the questions I asked you were in sequence.
Yes,
okay.
The first narc is definitely worse than the others. Yes.
Okay, so we'll start with the last 2. So, okay, let's begin then by talking about what set the platform, what am I trying to say? The foundation for you to get into these types of relationships. What do you think happened in your childhood?
Well, I mean, growing up, I grew up with my mom and my grandfather. My grandfather was my mom's dad. I did not grow with my father because my mom said he was an addict, but also he was like absent. I mean, he was there, but absent. And then one day he flipped over my high chair, and she actually took a picture of it and would show me and say, when someone's violent like this, that means they could put their hands on you. So I always knew not to get into any abusive kind of relationships.
Okay.
So from then on, I did not grow up with him. He rarely ever made visits, but I didn't really miss him because my grandfather was such an excellent male role model.
Oh, that's good. So you still got that love and support. Okay.
Oh, definitely. I was definitely a grandpa's girl.
Okay, so then that sounds good. So what do you think happened?
Well, my mom, so her mom passed away when she was 13. So I believe she had some undiagnosed depression. She was an older mother. She had me when she was about almost 40. And she used to be my buddy when I was growing up, when I was little, but then she worked at a high needs school, for a high needs school, like well before you had the movie Dangerous Minds. I mean, this school was rough before it was even televised, kind of thing. And she was like a workaholic and a very good teacher to these students. But her being a workaholic and putting so much energy into them, kind of we lost our I guess mother-daughter bond in a way. And I'm an only child, so it was just the both of us. And so I guess it was just such a demanding job. When she'd get home, she didn't want to have much noise going on, and she was a type 1 diabetic, so she was pretty much exhausted quite a bit. And so we didn't get a chance to do as many things as we did as before she had that job. So I called her Mountain Out of Molehill Mama, because she was just yell and scream over some real simple stuff. And I'd be like, why are you yelling and screaming at me? It'd be to the point to where she was hitting me. So I think I learned early on, if someone's yelling or agitated, I could possibly get hit. I mean, I have an example. I wore glasses, and one day I just pushed my glasses from my nose, how you do this. And I used my middle finger, not knowing anything, and she slapped the crap out of me. And I was looked confused. She was like, oh, I guess you didn't know. Oh, so I mean, it's just quick reactions and violence.
Oh
So
boy.
I grew up with that. Like, my grandfather was a minister, and the one lesson was, oh, not thou shalt, but no smoking or something like that. And she was a very light smoker, but she did smoke. And I told my grandpa, I said, oh, well, my mom smokes. And so I guess he got on to her. And boy, she laid it into me. Like, I don't know if you remember those pennants that you get at a baseball game. She took the stick and just
Little banners,
really,
uh-huh.
yeah, the banners. Like, she gave me welts. But then she actually did apologize by saying, sorry for that. And it actually helped her to quit smoking. But I mean, there was no need for that. That punishment didn't really equate to what really went on.
So I'm trying to understand. So she was mad because you quote told on her?
Yes,
That's what she felt? Okay.
yes, yep, yeah. So yeah, and it was a couple of other very like traumatic experiences just because I'm not sure what was going on. And since she was type 1 diabetic, she always like would say, I think as early when I was 5, when I would die, who do you want to live with? I'm like, would start crying because I'm so young. Like, why would you ask these questions? And I kind of think it's because she wanted to see me cry, and not sure why, but she's, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what was going on with her. But she did actually die before I was 20. Well, before I was 20 years old. So, because it was due to type 1 diabetes. But so I just grew up in that just like walking on eggshells kind of environment. And
Gotcha.
I believe, like I said, thinking if someone's going to yell, possibly get hit, and then really can't do anything back because it's a bigger figure than me. She was good on backhanded compliments, which, kind of hard to explain, like, oh, that's pretty good, but I mean, it took you long enough to do kind of that stuff.
Yeah, they call that that's a tip, that's a narc technique, and it's
Mhm.
called negging. So
Mhm.
it's like a slam, but it's hidden in what you think might be a compliment, so you're left kind of confused because it's a double
Mhm.
message.
Yep. Yep. So growing up with that, of course, would feed into me meeting or being comfortable kind of around people who do this. And she would like, call me fat. And now I found out I have hypothyroidism because I would go from small to big, small to big. So being called fat when you really can't help it much, you know, that's tough too. And she would play the comparison game. Like, she'd compare me to like her students in school, but these are some like, I mean, these kids were having kids at 12 and whatnot, and you're comparing me because they know the newest slang or something crazy, but I'm bringing home good grades. And she's always doing the comparison game. And I actually would be friends with people who said their parents would do the same thing. So I think I attracted people, I had friends that were similar to me growing up too.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, so then you become a teenager.
Yeah, I became a teenager. Definitely made sure I went to go to school. Well, I had good grades, so I went to college full ride, and I made sure to not stay I'm from Chicago, so I wanted to go somewhere nice and warm. So I went down south, and my mom was pretty frank talking to me about sex, like, so, she was open about it, so I knew, what it would bring and all that, but not about dating. So I didn't date the whole time in college because I would get advice from older people like, oh, don't worry about dating, just get your degree or just focus on school, focus on school, focus on school. Well, in hindsight, I wish that people would preach, you could do both. Just
Right.
don't,
And
stay in
teach
the,
you how, just like
yeah,
you learn your geometry and
yeah,
trigonometry, you could learn how to date.
yeah. And I don't think my mom would be able to give that advice considering her mom died when she was 13. So maybe that was lacking in her life to where she couldn't pass it down on me, possibly. But I've heard
Yeah.
it from other people that, nope, I wasn't taught this. And yeah, so that will bring me into my first narc. Yay. Um,
Yay, you funny.
yay. Hooray. So when I started dating, the swipey thing got real popular. So I met this guy off the swipey thing. And
No, not that.
yeah, it's swipey thing time. And he was a handsome guy. So I know you said don't date anybody with an accent, but that might include a European too. He was from Germany. He was half black, half like white German. And we were, I know when I met him, I just really wasn't even into him. I'm really not into light-skinned guys. And I think that, like, you know, a guy might notice that, like, oh no, I'm really going to get her now because, you know. So I was actually in between jobs because I left a narky workplace. And so I was waiting to start another job. So we had a lot of time to talk on Skype, like for hours. And he's somebody who grew up as like the only mixed kid of wherever he lived. So he would always ask questions about how it is to be a black person in America. And he really wanted to be involved in church. And he liked that whole woman who was into the church aspect, someone who just loves God so much, this, that, and the other. So he would ask, yeah, yeah, which leads me to your book. He, yeah. Yeah, and he was 8 years older than I was, and I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we would talk, like I said, for hours, and then one day he asked for my address or whatever, for my mailing address, and he sent me a picture and some poetry, and I was like, I don't really like him like that, but maybe I should give this guy a chance. And then that's when things started popping off. So since he was in Germany, he actually came to visit me. And he stayed for like about a week and a half, because I was not going to go there first. That is definitely top advice. You make sure he comes to you first, because you
That's
might,
right, on your
you know,
home
have
turf.
yeah, your familiar ties or your friends or family at least to back you up in case anything were to happen. But he was on his best behavior though. He even emailed my best friend and say, "Oh, what kind of gifts should I give her? Does she like this, that, and the other?" So he's already doing the love bombing setup. You know, the relationship was okay. We enjoyed talking and things like that, but he started to actually, then I went to visit him in Germany, and he would point out bigger people and say, "Oh, that person's big, huh?" And I don't really like talking about anybody, so I'd be like, and then he said something very weird. You know, they say big people are selfish. It's because they eat so much they don't want to share their food. So big people are selfish.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't turn around and get on the first thing smoking up out of there.
I
Girl.
don't know. Well, I think the problem is when you date someone from another country, you don't know if that's their cultural thing or what, because I'm always
Oh,
told
well, that is
for
true.
me,
Okay.
Germans are mean, you know, even like I've met more Germans and they can come off a little something at first. You know, he's taking the cake, of course. But, you know, being in a different place, that's why a lot of times narcs like to isolate you. So I didn't know. Is this part of the culture? And at that time, I definitely was slimmer than I am now. So I just was like, he's not going to start talking about me, right? Well, of course. Okay. So he tried a couple of different techniques. One was he saw like a guy, just a random nice looking guy, not nicer. And he was like, "Oh, I saw you looking at that guy." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I see you. You think he's attractive. You got turned on." And I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" So he figured he couldn't get me that way. Because, you know, a lot of narcs like to say that, "Yo, you like this guy," and they start getting selfish and controlling. He saw that didn't work. But he saw that I really didn't like him talking about people being big. So he knew that was going to work. So that's when he started, you know, he chose this one incident. So I met his dad. All narcs parents just love me, and they end up love bombing me, and maybe because they know their kid is crappy. I mean, the narcs parents give me gifts all the time and whatnot. So
Girl, they just so happy somebody can tolerate those sorry pieces of doo-doo.
maybe maybe that's it. So his dad was actually from Ghana, and, you know, really proud that he made this certain pie. And we hadn't eaten all day walking around, so I had a light dinner, but he brought out this pie, and I had a sliver. And Dad was like, "Oh, want another piece?" I was like, "No, I'm good." And he asked, and he kept asking. So I'm from the school. If someone asks you, you know, something that they made, if you want it, you just say yes, and you eat it. Okay? So he eat the piece of pie. As we were walking to our, like, we did like an Airbnb kind of thing when I was with, the Euro Yuck is what I call them. When I was walking back from the B&B, he says, "I don't know what kind of woman would eat two pieces of pie." And I said, what? And I said, they were actually, and I was defending myself. I said, they were actually pretty small. Said, I just don't understand. And I says, really had a light dinner. Not know what, I don't know what you're talking about. And he says, well, maybe my dad's the type of person who will talk about somebody after he offers food. Dad is not like that, but Narc is. And so since Narc knew that was going to work, every time I would put anything in my mouth, that whole trip, he had something to say. Anytime. It was like an awful, awful trip. Like I had some popcorn. Oh, why are you eating that right now? And I had this. And then one time I was like, well, you're eating too. And I forgot what his excuse was, why he could eat, but I couldn't eat, kind of thing. Yes. So definitely didn't like the guy. He went to his, so I end up, the thing was he was supposed to be off while we explored the city together. But he was in between jobs because he can't keep a job because of his personality being so crappy. So he had just started a new job, so he couldn't take the time off. So I'd explored the city myself, got back, and looked on his computer because it's there. And he had pictures of his ex holding like a dog they adopted, but it was so many pictures. And I seemed to find a commonality with these narcs really liking a lot of pictures, and or it wasn't popcorn, your term for the other thing, but it was just so many pictures. And then I came to a picture of of somebody else. Now in pictures with he and I, he's smiling, he's showing all the teeth. But for her, it was a very recent picture. But for her, he's like, Mr. I'm this way, and I'm cool, this, that, and the other. So I confronted him, and I remember texting him, and he came back with flowers. And I says, what is this battered woman syndrome stuff? I don't want this. I had my
Oh, this guy. Oh my God.
he was to me so young to be acting like this, really. So I said, no, thank you for the flowers. I had my stuff packed. He saw that I wanted to leave. We talked things out. I stayed for another couple of days. And then one time we were kissing or whatnot. And he just tried some maneuver I did not like. And he said something like, well, what kind of woman doesn't like that? And I says, me. And I slapped the crap out of him. And he was like, oh, so sorry. But I'm just like, what are all these weird comments? So in my head, I broke up with him in my head. I'm just doing a Stockholm syndrome thing, though, so I can get to the airport and things like that kind of thing. So, I'm acting kind of nice, but, definitely guarded. But he's cold and guarded anyway, so I don't even know if he really even noticed that. So we get to the airport, and he pops the question with an engagement ring.
No. He must have sensed you was done with him.
Where did he get the ring that fast? I don't know. So he popped the question. So again, Stockholm syndrome. I just was like, I don't know. Maybe if you get therapy, I'll accept it for now. So I just took the ring, and I said, oof, hightailed it out of there. And this is back when we had MySpace, showing my age. And
girl, that was eons ago.
Hey, it kind of, well.
I had a MySpace page too. I'm talking about myself right along with you.
And so, I changed the song to What Goes Around Comes Around. I'm really sticking it to him. And he called and he says, no, I really do have an appointment with the therapist and this, that, and the other. So I gave him another chance. All right. So I think he visited me again, and he still did the love bombing by shopping and whatnot, giving me
So
things.
tell me, from the time when he came the first time to this you went there, and now this, how much time had passed? How much time are we talking about here?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably 3 months, 3 or 4 months, because I didn't want to do too much long distance dating.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he came to visit me where I lived, and I remember shopping, and then he held my hand in the mall, and then he went up to grab my arm, but he would squeeze it really hard. He says, what are you doing? He says, just smile, just take it, just take it. I says, what kind of game is this? So I don't know if he was trying to groom me to start getting beat on. Weird, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, well, that didn't really work. So he went back home, and then I did the visit to him one last time, and heard that he admitted that he cheated again. So I broke up with him on the spot. And when I left, back when they had Yahoo groups, I actually said, oh, ask me how I lost 190 pounds, and like really just ran into him and talked about him horribly bad, because I could see he was onto another girl. I'm like, why do you keep picking black women in America? Like, leave us alone.
For
So I tried,
real.
yeah, so I tried to do a warning, but this girl was already, she was older than me, but she was much older than, she was older than him, and she was really into the love bombing that he was doing. So he just was super happy to get another narc supply super quick. But what he did to her was pretty bad. So in a relationship, he would always talk about wanting a Scorpio ex. And a lot of these narcs want, like, because Scorpios supposedly known to be ride or die. Like, whatever you do, they're going to, you know, ride or die with you. They're just, they love you, you know, with no exception.
Right.
So this new girl was a Scorpio, and they ended up breaking up. So I'm not real proud about this, but I did like a catfish thing, because I really want to know what happened in their relationship. So she thought I was just talking to, she was talking to some regular person, but she told me how she actually, now this is somebody who loved the guy, Euro Yuck, loves a church woman. And she was a church woman saying, you know, no sex anymore. I already got a kid and it's clank clank from now on. Of course they had sex because he's hypocritical like most narcs. But she got pregnant. Yeah, yeah. And the problem with that is that as soon as she got pregnant, he started talking about, and I knew he was going to get on her because she was a lot taller than me. She was a different skin tone, all the things that you really can't help. I knew he would start talking about her about, and found out, you know, he was really mean to her during the pregnancy to where she had a miscarriage. And when she did, he did not even, she said he was super cold, wouldn't talk to her to the point where it kind of drove her a little crazy. And I said, you know, what other things did he do? And talked about her weight, talked about her height and her skin tone, the things that she cannot change. Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, this guy.
Ooh, girl.
And I was like, kind of like my first boyfriend. So I was like, whoa, you know, don't know about this whole dating thing. So that's, yes, that.
Narc number one. Okay, let's move on to number two.
Yeah, so number two, of course, had to be different. He was this is a critical jump. He was a covert narc, not just overly, but like, friends think he's like the greatest guy. Family thinks he's the greatest guy, but not, of course, the greatest guy. When I first met him, he and his family are very grieved about their sibling passing away. And I feel that women are able to experience certain things and not get over, but just like kind of rise above it. But men are not. And it seems to really affect them in ways that can, like, I don't know, trigger them to do some narc activities. So he was, and this also made the parents spoil him even more because now he was the only kid. And so, like, if he lived with them till he was like over 30, which is not a good thing. And they still pay for his car note. They paid for everything. And so when I realized that everything was getting paid for, I would ask him, like, you know, where's all your money going? And, you know, he said, oh, you know, I'm not going to tell you that, this kind of stuff. And found out it's mainly going towards marijuana.
But how much weed can you smoke?
This is the deal. So a lot. And when I talked to people about what strain he was on, people were like, oh, no, he should have been knocked out. But he wasn't. He still was very hyper. Something else was wrong with him. And he definitely was. People say, oh, you can't be addicted to marijuana, but you can. You can. When I first met him, throughout the relationship, he really didn't talk much. And I was more of the talker in this relationship because narcs really don't have a personality. So they're going to gleam on your personality. He wasn't affectionate, and he didn't really give eye contact, which I thought was weird. Like what happened to you? The thing is, something happened to his mom. And I feel that living with her for so long, he knew exactly how to talk as an abuser or to abuse people. So I think because he always wonder, well, why did this person pick me? You know, I did have a damaged childhood. I think he would be able to pick up on it because his mom had a damaged childhood. So he also found out his ex was like 19 when he was 30. So he had a thing about dating much, much, much younger people. I was younger than him. And he started, of course, talking about my weight as well. I don't know why everyone's weight is my, their business. I broke up with him. And he says, no, 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 no. I still love you. No, let's still work this out. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, everybody talks about black love, so let's give this a try. But I shouldn't have, because he gave like lots of lies. Like when I ended up moving in with him, and I'm happy I did to find out some of this stuff, I found like an old jail record of something that he did, and I just came up to him and says, hey, is there anything somebody could easily find about you that could be on the internet? I didn't say I just found it. He says, oh, that I lied about my degree. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's a different lie. So I was taken aback, because I was like, that's not the lie we were even going to discuss. So I did talk about the other one, because he ended up, I think he was stealing from the workplace kind of thing. And he gave me a version about why he did it, which ended up changing over the years, which makes me very suspicious if he is straight or not. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. He was accused of maybe doing something with a younger little guy, and that's why he felt like he had to bribe mom with the money he stole from work. But when I first got him in the lie, he was like, oh no, he just stole because he needed, he just wanted the money or something like that. So
oh, I see. So
suspicious.
he stole it to pay off somebody and silence somebody.
Yeah. Which is, oh no, of course I didn't do that, but I don't know. So anyway, when I first met him, the sex was whack, the gifts were crappy, forgot my birthday twice, this and the other. And I'm in the field where if you get chosen to work in conservation, just go ahead. And so I got chosen to work in Africa for a bit. And I was gone for a good time. And when I came back, he popped the question, of course. And I was like, well, I've got to see, if your words are going to align with your actions. And they did, because he's very good with cleaning up his act, but for some time. Some people say, oh, for a short time. He's able to do it for years. And what I found out, though, why he started giving better gifts and whatnot, is because he read my diary. Yeah, he read all the complaints I had about him.
Oh, so he just eliminated all those to try to, you just gave
Oh,
him a
yeah.
map.
Yeah, for the most part. So, so what helped get me out of this relationship was to start writing things down, and something called Day One. It's an electronic diary. And because he was gaslighting me, so many different instances where he says, oh, I didn't say that, or I didn't do that. And one day I was like, if the song, if you don't know me by now, you'll never know me. So if I don't know you by now, why are we still in a relationship? Will you shut up then? But I mean, the things he was saying, they were just gaslighting things. I mean, because he'll say, no, I didn't say that. And he would say that. And so, like I said, he acted pretty good. What else? Oh, and I noticed that somebody told me he was like a dry drunk, a drunk with none of the fun. So,
oh.
Yeah, he was an alcoholic. He said he quit cold turkey, but whenever he would have more than 2 beers, he was super angry. He was just an angry person, and he would act colder. And I remember asking him, oh, it was a rainy day. You just want to play a game of Uno? And he says, no, and as he played his video games, because that's all he did. And I says, oh, did you just do that stuff to, get in a relationship with me? And he didn't even look at me and says, yes. But if he didn't have his alcohol, he would, oh, no, yeah, let's play, this and the other. So I just added that as fuel to the fire to say, okay, I need to break up with this guy. And it took me a minute, because I actually wanted to move out west somewhere, but it was very expensive to live on my own. So I was isolated in a way. So I ended up just saying, well, I'm going to go to the Midwest and see if I can find jobs, and, we'll move together. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm on board, but I did not come back. There's something called U-ship. I got my stuff shipped to me, even my pets. Like, I was serious. I left everything. because I felt like he was going to start being violent, because every time I
Mm-hmm.
would break up with him, he would act sick. And one day I left the ring, the engagement ring, like on the kitchen table, and I walked in and he's doing like this. And I says, what in the world is this? I guess he was supposed to act like he was asleep or something, so we wouldn't talk about why I left the ring, or that I
Or
wouldn't
like
break up with
passed
him.
out from the shock of you leaving his ring, and he's just in such a state. He just
Yes, I guess like that would work. So anyway, Stockholm syndrome again. I just was like, oh no, everything's okay. We'll be fine. So yeah, I just completely had to leave my stuff, because I felt like he would do something to harm himself, because another time I broke up with him, all of a sudden his brakes went out on his car, and they really did. But I'm like, would you do that on purpose? Like, you just
I
know.
have no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
girl, they
man.
do some all kind of stuff to get your attention and to what they call it,
Oh.
hoover you back in.
Oh.
So I would have no doubt at all. It's either that, or somebody hated his behind that much that they wanted him to die, and so they did something to him. But I have a feeling, the way cars are designed these days,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard to get into them unless you got to unlock stuff to open up the hoods and stuff. You got to be in the
Yeah.
car, or you got to pry it open. So
Yeah.
it would seem most likely that he did it himself.
Yeah, and everybody loved him. Oh yeah, you all guys you're so people tell me that I was so lucky. No, so yeah, I mean he fooled everybody. So I don't know if anybody would purposely do that to his brakes except for him. Yeah.
Right.
So
Because he could see she was leaving, and he's like, oh no, I got to suck her back.
yeah, good point. So
So let's talk about
anyway,
number three, dude
so
number
number
three.
three, dude number three. So once I left NARC 2, I was living with friends, so I figured out what to do next. And I dated this guy I call him the Love Bomber Texan. Simple as that.
Love
Because
Bomber Texan. That has a nice ring to it.
I really didn't know much about love bombing, but this is the time when I got into your videos. And so when you have like a list of 26 things that Black men will do to jump hoops and all the things, like all these videos were super helpful. And then I ran into another one, someone else had posted about write down your experiences after every date. And that's very helpful. So I actually did a digital diary. I do from now on, because everybody read my diary. And
Mm-hmm.
and so for the love bomber, he was so when I first met him, he took me to a really nice restaurant, and he says, can I sit right next to you? And I just was like, okay, sure. So he sat smack dab right next to me, and he was very attentive and said all the right things and all the nice things. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to play along and see how this goes, and maybe this will help me learn more. So we went everywhere that I wanted to go to, and I wanted to go, we want to know what to eat next. And he said, Mexican. I says, sure, I love Mexican food. And we just had it recently. I says, oh, I'll go again. But now I was like, oh, wait, there's this barbecue place. And if anybody's in Detroit, there's a place called Slows. Oh, and then people will know it's delicious. So we went, and he says, oh, well, you should have told me Slows at first. And I was like, actually, I brought it up, we wouldn't be here, And I said, yeah, this guy he's trying to show his true side. And
Wow.
I don't ask questions like, oh, like how you say, oh, what's your favorite color? And no, you got to get to some real questions like, what was your childhood? And all those questions kind of stemmed him to start thinking about himself. And I don't know, I think he knew that I read his card. He even would say, yeah, I'm a numbers guy, because he was an accountant. If I say anything that you don't like, because he did say something I didn't like, and I just like gave him the cold shoulder. If there's anything, you just let me know, and this, that, and the other. So he knows, or he was trying his best to just get me in his, in his grips. And all these guys want to get in a relationship super quick too. Like the last two guys, and him included, I could tell he's going to ask, to be in a relationship. So this one time I said, let's go hiking. Let's do something active. I'm really into being active and not just, playing video games, sitting around. And he says, sure. So I go over his house, and he's cooked something. I guess he does the same meal every Sunday, which is really weird. And so it was,
Exact same.
Yeah, it's always roast beef, green beans, and mashed potatoes. But the roast beef was grandma's recipe, so he wanted to wow me with grandma's recipe. But it was like 3 p.m. I don't want to eat that early. I wanted to go on a quick hike, come back and eat. He says, "Oh, let's eat now." So we ate, and then we're both like, "Yeah, I'm too full to want to, go hike." He says, "Yeah, I'm too full." I just remember looking at him like, "Nah, I'm getting ready to go." So he actually hugged me, and I call it like the hug of like the last hug, because I could just tell that he knew that, I wasn't going for it, and that was the end of that. So that could have been a relationship, because I actually thought he was good looking. I liked him. He said all the right things, and that could have been because the relationships ended up being long. The first one wasn't, but the second narky guy was 5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, because he would like breadcrumb, as you had me learn. So when I would think about the good times, I'm like, okay, this could work out, and then a year would pass, and then he's an a-hole again. So I'm really proud of myself for stopping that love bomber texting, and I always date online. Sorry, but I know it's just part of my lifestyle.
Oh, you're not the only one. That's just for you young
Yeah,
people. That's
I
that's pretty
just
much how it goes.
yeah. I mean, but I'm not with the New Jersey nut job. I'm not with the hillbilly hoarder or the chatty chef. They all get nicknames, so I'm not with any of them. But I did notice they all have problems with boundaries. Like even it might not be physical boundaries, but it's like the chatty chef told me all about his ex's miscarriage. I'm like, why are you telling me this? So they can have problems with social boundaries and other kind of boundaries. And then maybe that's the majority of what's online too. I mean, maybe they're just
Well, plus
undateable guys.
it's their way of, since they don't really have a personality and they don't
Mhm.
really know, they have no intention of exposing themselves on a intimate level. What
Mm.
they do is try to build a false sense of intimacy by sharing all those kinds of details about other people's lives. So you feel like, they're
Mm.
telling you stuff and it's stuff that matters to them, but in reality, it doesn't even have to be true. He could have read that online somewhere and
Oh,
just
that's true.
adopted that as one of his stories to evoke sympathy and
Mhm.
stir your emotions. That's their
Mhm.
trick. So yeah, but if they never rarely ever tell you anything about themselves and what they feel, what
Right.
they're
Yeah.
afraid of, what
Yeah.
their hurts are. They always talk about
Yep.
other people's.
Yep. So
It's
that's why
interesting that you picked up on that though. Look at you.
thanks.
Ah,
So I have some take backs of the commonalities and the I guess red flags.
okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. So be careful with addictions. I would just say no addictions. If they have addiction of any kind, it could be popcorn, like that second narc that I had, or food, because I got to know that the roast beef guy, I mean, he was just really into food. He wasn't big, but I can tell maybe he would want to fatten me up even more so he can talk about me being big. I don't know. I don't know. But they
Mm,
all have some sort of addiction, so just steer clear. If they have bad family dynamics, like the European yuck, his mom didn't like him and dad was gone, but got back in his life, and he had a 7-year-old brother, and this guy's like 30-something years old. So he even told me how he felt bad of how his dad was being nice to his, new son, but he wasn't in his life kind of thing. And I feel like maybe it's hard to move on. Well, it's hard when the guy has problems with dad, but when it's a problem with mom too, you could forget about it. I say run away, because boys do want to be mama's boys, and if mom wasn't there or something was going on with her, it really damages them. Unless they go
right.
to therapy, unless they work on it. I try to steer clear of only boys, or if they were the only child. Because wow, I mean, every last one of them were, and they just are so spoiled that they don't have responsibilities, and maybe that makes them want to compete with you, because I've got responsibilities and I handle my own, and they want to compete with me, and I'm like, I didn't know I was in a competition. Why would I want to be in a competition with my boyfriend? So be steer clear of that. If they can't get over past things, or they have some sort of grief that they never touched upon, if they're violent towards animals, like the guy that everybody liked, the critical chump, the way he trained his dog, our dog, was by kicking it.
What?
Oh yeah, by kicking it. But everybody thinks that, critical chump, he's the nicest guy. I'm like, he's so great with animals. No,
Uh,
he's not. He's not. Not at all. Or steer clear of the guy who wants a Scorpio woman and or just that unconditional love or that ride or die stuff. I remember reading something like, you shouldn't do any unconditional love. This is before your video. And I said that to the second guy, and it took him aback. Like, he wants somebody to do unconditional love. Because,
of
you know,
course they
mama
do.
had.
They just spoiled brats.
Well, the thing is, give it back. They don't know how to give that love back,
Yeah.
or that you know, their love is on condition. So I don't get
They
that.
can't love. They don't even know how to love. All they
Oh,
can barely spell it.
that's true. I dated a guy who I wrote I love plants, and I put LOVE on purpose because a guy who can't. If you're grown, you should be able to say you love something too. He wrote back, I LUV plants too. So you can't even say you love plants. So of course you're not gonna say
Wow.
you love me when it's time to, you know, if that time were ever to
Girl,
go
he didn't want
on.
you to cut and paste that and put it somewhere in his handwriting.
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah.
you guys. Oh my God.
I LUV plants too. Write things down to help you if you're being gaslit or if you're in the middle of trying to break up. They say women take about 4 times to break up with a man. So I say use it as fuel to the fire when you like put it in your electronic diary or just write it, because it'll help you, especially gaslighting, because you're like, I didn't say that, or I didn't do that, or why is he saying that I'm, you know, high strung, or I'm just giving an example. And it's not, and you get to see that when you have it written down. So just keep doing that. Be careful about if they lie about anything. First guy was actually a compulsive liar. Second guy, of course, lied about his degree and the other things. And the Texan, I can tell, was not telling the truth. You're not active. Because he was like, oh, yeah, let's go hiking. But why would you make a roast beef dinner?
Yeah.
You don't know, think about hiking. You don't eat that kind of stuff before. So my thing is, if they lie about anything, you know, be wary. If they've lived with their parents, I say past 25. I know some people will say younger, but I don't know. Times are weird with
And
rent and
times are
whatnot.
hard right now.
Yeah. So, but it would be nice if they at least tried to move out. Be careful if they're stubborn or obstinate, or I would say they're contrary just to be contrary. They just don't want to do it. But then all of a sudden, like say you don't want to do it. Oh, I'll do it. What's wrong with you? Like, you know, I got with a guy who by the end of the relationship, I was acting like him. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to plan anything because he used to say, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to do a picnic. I don't want to do this. But by the end of the time, then all of a sudden he was the perfect person and wanted to do it. Be careful if they're critical, that they're not affectionate. If you like affection, if they don't give eye contact, then just be careful of that. And there's always something called the narc look. Like, I didn't see it with the first guy because I didn't really know about narcs too much, or I knew about it but didn't know a name. But the second and third guy, I remember looking over at them each one time, and they would just give like this look of death, like what's wrong? It's like a look like you don't even recognize them, and it's just some weird look in their eye. And I was just living my best life, so
So
don't know
they're looking
why.
at you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, do that face again.
Oh, like, or
The narc look, okay?
yeah, and I've read it before in someone's book. I forgot whose, but anyway, they say they'll just do this. It's like something coming over them. Maybe they're just mad because they can't get you, or they're cooking something up. I don't know, but it seems to be common with narcs. They give like some weird look. And if you're gonna date after being in all these relationships, again, write down something after your impression after each date, just so you can figure out some commonalities, especially if you're dating online. It just helps you. So you're like, okay, I said, I'm not going to deal with a guy who didn't even try college. So, you know, this guy did say that. So, you know, just like different things. And then it can help you in case they start gaslighting you as soon as you start dating. Because some of them
Mm-hmm.
will. Or the love bombing happens. You're like, oh, no, you know what? This is love bombing. So it's good to just jot all that stuff down. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, that was excellent.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so you're so organized and stuff. I hardly had to say anything.
Oh.
Girl, but this is just like, you know, the fact that you made it through that first dude, that one from Germany. Ooh, wee.
Yeah, that was rough. Like, and I left some things out, of course. It's just, maybe I'm happy that was the first one, so I don't put up with as much. Like, unfortunately, like I said, the second relationship was longer, but he was more low key, you know, and family liked him so much. And when I didn't want to give him a chance, and this is the thing about people are like, well, where are you getting your advice from? See, I'm an only child, so I look to have, like, you know, like people giving me advice.
Right.
My friends were in worse relationships than me, so I was looking better, and these guys were looking better. And I would even have older friends, and it's just hard to get some advice out of them because they're in worse predicaments than I was. So it's just really hard to find out, you know, who to not trust, or any type of information. It's pretty hard for us out there.
Well, you have me.
Yay! Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. After you get out of the narc relationships, you want to get back on the dating scene. Watch, of course, Deb's videos from front to back. I think you have like 8 years worth or more.
Yeah, well, you know, I started my YouTube channel in, what year was that? I think, I don't know, 2007, 8, 9, something like that. I was
Mhm.
on Blog Talk at the time, and I was going to do, you know, like, try to figure out how to put stuff on both of them, but I never did anything. So I'd say a good 6, 7 years went by. And then before I started really using the channel, I think I maybe had 2 or 3 videos up. All the
Okay.
videos that are
Wow.
there now are since 2016.
I mean, it's a lot of videos and great, great content. So, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like I might not find anyone, which, you know, could be just fine. It's just, I know there's just a lot of rotten guys out there, and parents have really done their boys a huge injustice by, like, the second guy, his mom tried to tell me how spanking is wrong, and then she tells me, now this guy's well over 40, saying, I'll never forget the first time I spanked Critical Chump. You know, I gave him a musical instrument. He threw it down. He didn't want to play it anymore. Like, and then I spanked him, but I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, yeah, he basically broke an instrument. He told him to play it. He didn't want to. And years later, like decades later, you're still upset with yourself for spanking him. And that was the only time she ever spanked him.
So I would have got mad all over again, and he's 40. I was like, get over here so I can beat your ass again.
Remember that time?
Wasting
Yeah.
my money. Oh, girl.
Yeah. So yeah. And like I said, the parents really do love Bomb too, because she gave great gifts too, because maybe she knew he didn't give good gifts. What I hate is that they all end up married, and here I am still not married.
Girl, don't think about it as a benefit. Those poor women are suffering. They're suffering. They're sitting over there thinking, why did I do this to myself? I just want to
Oh
die.
no! Oh no!
That's what they're thinking. So don't feel bad about that. But
Yeah.
the main thing is, you know, marriage is more than a notion.
Oh
As
yeah.
you see from your little experiences, you know, you just, I don't know, men are just different. They're just so special. And so you have to be willing to, you know, have a, what am I, like selective vision where you can't pay attention to every stupid thing that they do. You'll go
Mhm.
crazy. But, you know, you do have to pay attention to the big things, the things that could damage, that are, you know, could damage you, your self-esteem, your
Mhm.
finances, or your children, you know, in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. But a lot of the stuff they do, man, it just makes you just want to just snatch them. But you
Yeah.
just say, you know, whatever. So I don't know. Marriage, I think, is, since men have changed so much, marriage has changed so much, and you know, our society has changed. I'm not really seeing where there's really a place for
Mhm.
marriage unless you just want to have children. But as far as two
Mhm.
adults go, if they don't plan to have kids, there is no point. And I'm going on
Yeah.
record to say that
Oh
there's
boy,
there's
it's
no
looking that
point.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
It's,
it's just I don't see where women as a whole, I mean, I'm talking like worldwide, are
Oh yeah.
benefiting from it.
Mhm.
It's like
Mhm.
drudgery and slavery for women, and all these expectations and responsibility, and it's a thankless job. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be very, very picky about
Mhm.
who you align yourself with before you sign on that dotted line. It's a
Yeah.
lot to think about. Don't just be going into it, oh my God, I'm getting married. Like Suge said in Purple Color Purple, I was married
Yeah, I was married.
now. It's a lot to
Yeah,
think about. But
you're
girl, yeah,
right.
I'm happy that you made it to the other side of all of
Thank
that.
you.
Still got your bright, beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah,
looking good.
and no kids, cause if I had kids with those guys,
Oh, can you imagine your
oh
life right
man,
now?
yeah, oh, it would be so bad. Oof.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just keep my cat. It's cool.
Yeah, there you go. Hi, kitty. Well, girl, I'm going to move on with my Saturday. Actually, I broke my TV, so I got to go pick up a new
Oh
one.
no! Oh
Girl,
gosh!
knocked it.
How?
Oh, this screen that I have here is on
Oh,
stands, and it fell over. And
oh
my TV is
no!
on a stand behind it, knocked that over.
Oh
The TV
no!
hit the edge of the coffee table and cracked the screen. It happened so fast.
Oh
And
boy!
I was like, it's like in your mind, it's like slow motion, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
and then I heard that glass cracking, that
Oh
sound. And
no!
I was like,
Ooh.
no.
Oh no!
I go around and I pick
Sorry.
everything up, and then I pick up my TV.
Uh,
And I haven't even had it that long because I don't really have, when did I buy this thing? Black Friday.
oh no!
Yeah. So I'm just go get another one. Yeah. And I hardly even
Yeah.
use it, but it is
Yeah.
busted.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
It's like, so I'm like, okay, whatever. So that's where I'm headed to. My little car, drive down there,
Yes.
pick it up.
Yes. Oh, well, good. Well, good. At least get one right away. I'm the same. I don't watch much TV, but I gotta have it.
I like to, since I do I review my videos on it, or the videos people send me, they say, well, they want me to do a review of it. I like to
Mhm.
watch it on a bigger screen,
Oh yeah.
and then my hand, it's more comfortable, and I can take notes and stuff. And then I
Okay.
like to watch my Korean dramas.
Oh, that's right. I'm gonna try those.
Girl, yes. Well, you want a recommendation, you just let me know.
Okay, I'll email you.
Yeah, because I know. Yeah, and I'll email you back some really funny. I think a funny one that you
Yeah.
like. And it'll be good. It's a romantic story, but it's hilarious. The guy who plays the lead makes you fall out laughing. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
bring to you that one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I will
Thanks so
talk to you
much.
soon, and I'll see you on the wall.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay. Bye
Have a good
bye.
Saturday. Bye bye.